This is the most important part. This is right after she was saying, we are run by ABC News. You should trust us, not Joe Rogan, who believes in dragons. So she by saying we should trust them because they're double checked by ABC News, and then making the stupidest statement. Like you didn't listen to what I said.
Yeah.
You didn't listen to what the wildlife biologist, and that's only a part of what he said.
I can't
the
believe
other
Joy
part of what he
Behar
said
didn't
was
weigh.
there was something before that where he was explaining encounters with giant reptiles. And then there's also, listen,
It doesn't make sense to me that a middle-aged woman could be dumb.
when you're worried about losing your job and you're worried about podcasts taking over and who's the source of news, and we said Donald Trump was Hitler, but half the country disagreed with us and he won, and this is fucking great, and Joe Rogan believes in dragons. It's just frantic.
Joe Rogan just dropped a $100 million legal meteor onto The View, and the aftershock sent Sunny Hostin's eyebrows into a new time zone. This isn't just a lawsuit, it's a high-octane courtroom roast, and Rogan showed up with napalm and a playlist of petty receipts. The trigger? Well, The View decided to open their collective mouth one too many times, and this time they aimed at the wrong guy. Now it's Joe Rogan versus the queens of daytime dramatics. And spoiler alert, he's not playing polite. Buckle up, this isn't a case, it's a cultural demolition derby. And Rogan just slammed the gas.
So, apparently Joe Rogan has the most popular podcast on Spotify, and he's repeatedly spread COVID misinformation and invited guests on to do the same.
I agree that Joe Rogan is a horror.
I mean, I'm not saying that Joe Rogan should be removed from Spotify. He's got 11 million listeners. He's got a $100 million, contract as of 2020. But I do think as the podcast platform, you have to have some sort of guidelines. How about a disclaimer on his podcast that says, this is misinformation?
You know the media matrix is glitching when Joe Rogan, master of the long-form mind brawl, sues The View for a casual $100 million. But what really sent the internet into a frenzy wasn't the lawsuit, it was the verbal thermonuclear strike. Rogan launched from behind his studio mic. Picture it, a man with no script, no teleprompter, just rage, receipts, and a nationwide audience eating popcorn. He lit up The View like it was amateur improv night hosted by tone-deaf activists pretending to be journalists.
That's why people like our show, because they know that we are checked by ABC News. But
We're checked by everybody.
Yeah, I mean, if we're wrong, we have, the legal note here.
The human legal
But we went from Walter Cronkite, basically, to this guy, Joe Rogan, who believes in dragons. I checked it. He believes in dragons? He believes in dragons.
Did you triple source that?
Yes, I did. And he also thinks that dragons, like dinosaur-y type of animals, roam the earth when...
Let's rewind to the origin of this train wreck. The View, that hallowed sanctum of lukewarm coffee and even colder takes, a daytime talk show where logic is optional, facts are negotiable, and shouting over each other is a competitive sport. This time, they aimed their recycled outrage at Rogan, a man whose podcast empire makes network ratings look like MySpace page views. And surprise, surprise, they poked the bear. But this bear doesn't just growl, he podcasts, and he never, ever forgets.
I had to read the thing about The View because I just thought it was funny.
What's the
That's the
View?
only reason why I read that about me.
Dragon lover.
Joy Behar was trying to say that I believe in dragons.
Wait, what is this? I just
She
heard
said,
about
I checked it. And the lady goes, did you double check this? She goes, I checked it. He believes in dragons.
Should be like
you think they lived
Sasquatch,
alongside of
bitch.
people.
Wait,
It was from a wildlife biologist who came on my podcast. It was from Forrest Gallant.
Sunny Hostin, ever eager to churn out a hot take before doing any actual research, floated an accusation that didn't just irk Rogan, it earned her a front row seat in federal court. And Rogan, he didn't show up at their doorstep. He didn't ask for an apology. He did what he always does, put on his headphones, stared down the camera, and detonated the nuke with the calm of a man narrating his own revenge documentary. One moment, The View was firing off snarky jabs. The next, they were legal toast with a side of Twitter humiliation.
Hey, Megan, I get it. I also hate Joy Behar. So I don't love you, but I also hate that squawking bird. So I hate the whole thing. And frankly, that show, you want to talk about a show that set women back, is The View. You want to talk about that show. If the CIA is engineering, Antifa and fucking the Capitol riot, some crazy misogynist engineered The View. Because there's nothing worse than The View. In terms of there are so many brilliant women out there. None of them are on The View. None of them have gone near the set of The View. I mean, they have brought in the lowest tier of the, what is it, the Y chromosome?
No, double
The
X.
Okay.
Double X.
They brought in the lowest of the double X's for that one. It's rough.
Yeah, did you watch the episode when Tulsi Gabbard got on to defend herself and Joy Behar starts panicking and going over her notes while Tulsi is refuting everything that she said?
Yeah, I mean, Joy Behar, like, again, these people have dementia. These are people who, like, should not be allowed out of the house. They have a national platform.
Rogan's legal team came out swinging like a UFC main event, strategic, brutal, and terrifyingly efficient. They didn't just call the remarks offensive. They called them defamatory, career scorching, partnership poisoning, falsehoods. And here's the kicker. Rogan's no stranger to controversy, but this time wasn't about edgy opinions. This was about drawing a hard line, and The View ran straight past it with clown shoes and a confetti cannon. So Rogan didn't clap back, he built a stage, sold tickets, and turned their comments into a masterclass on legal consequences. Online chaos followed. Twitter threads caught fire. YouTube channels broke view records. And somewhere beneath the noise was a growing realization. The View had just turned itself into a cautionary tale.
Is that representative of a big constituency? I think probably yes.
Well, a lot of
MSNBC
people,
viewers are probably also thinking,
I don't even think the MSNBC viewers. I think they're a little bit more sophisticated than that.
Yeah.
This is like low information, blue no matter who, like older housewives who are mad at the world. That's the appeal that Whoopi Goldberg has. Does Whoopi have children?
No idea.
It's interesting too, like really politically motivated older women who don't have children.
Yeah,
they're very specific. Like you can kind of guess the way they think.
Sunny Hostin, who usually swaggers into every controversy like it's a TED Talk nobody asked for, suddenly vanished into the background. Gone was the snark, the monologues, the performative rage. In their place, silence, the kind of silence that smells like fear and legal memos. Meanwhile, Rogan kept pouring gasoline on their credibility like he was seasoning a steak. He didn't have to scream. He didn't have to spin. All he had to do was play the tape and connect the dots. The real irony, The View, a show built on loud opinions, went dead quiet when the consequences came calling. It turns out, moral superiority has a short shelf life when your facts are flimsy and your targets bite back.
Well, their audience is not really their audience. Their audience is a group of people they bring in to watch television shows. You know, I don't know if you've ever seen audiences before for TV shows, but a lot of them are paid. They're paid to be there. So, because they have to guarantee that there's going to be people there. So there's services that you hire. And when a show gets really, really popular, you know, like Letterman or something like that, obviously it has its own fan base.
Right.
And those people will try to get tickets before anybody else does. And in that case, they probably don't need to use a service anymore. They just get actual fans. But arguably, like the real fans of The View that are like, oh, these ladies are on point. Most of those people can't leave the house. Like they're probably immobile.
Let's call it what it is. The View's silence isn't strategy, it's surrender. When you get hit with a $100 million lawsuit and suddenly everyone forgets how to speak into a camera, it's less pause for legal review, and more someone unplugged the outrage machine. While Rogan is out here delivering scorched earth sermons with viral velocity, The View is trying to hide behind their coffee mugs. The internet. It's doing what it does best, remixing Rogan's takedown into TikTok's memes and dubstep soundtracks. Meanwhile, Sunny Hostin is apparently being held hostage in a room with nothing but Oprah reruns and a legal pad titled, How Not to Incriminate Yourself on Live TV.
Rogan here. Did you see Joe Rogan, who believes in dragons, I guess? According to Joy Behar, he changed his X profile. Did you see this?
That. I did see that.
It now just simply says dragon believer. He had talked about dragons on the show. It's, you know, the thing of it is, you take anything out of context and you can make fun of it and mock it. And so, you know, let's do that. It goes without saying, Joe Rogan, how many times more intelligent do you think Joe Rogan is than Joy Behar? What?
Infinite.
Multiple?
Infinite.
6 times, 8 times, 12 times, 30. It's like a math problem you can't solve. You could fit 35 of Joy Behar's brains into Joe Rogan's cranium and he would lose IQ points. but people believe.
Let's talk scale because The View shouting at Rogan is like a kazoo trying to drown out a jet engine. Rogan's podcast. 11 million listeners an episode. That's not a podcast, that's a civilization. The View, by contrast, is what happens when you try to repackage Thanksgiving dinner arguments as primetime content. It's apples versus atom bombs. Legacy media still thinks it's 2005. They drop sound bites and assume nobody checks Google. Rogan, he's running 3-hour thought marathons with neuroscientists, libertarians, hunters, and quantum physicists. This lawsuit isn't just a legal move. It's a culture war mic drop wrapped in a Spotify contract and delivered with side-eye. Rogan didn't just say, "I disagree." He said, "Your time is up." And I brought proof.
I mean, in fairness, though, I mean, The View has to be, if you average out The View hosts, among the dumbest people on television. And it's like they say the thing that people are thinking, but they say it very directly, so they expose whatever truth. But
I don't think some of them are dumb.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think Sunny Hostin's
You think it's deliberate?
I think she's ideologically driven, and they have blinders on, for sure. I don't think Sunny's dumb. But Whoopi is certainly not the brightest person. And what she just said just doesn't make any sense. It's just like so silly to say. It's not a well thought out. It's like if you had an idea for a premise and it was totally baked and half baked, and you went on stage with it, and it's nothing.
This isn't a lawsuit, it's a cultural reckoning. Every viewer who's ever cringed at The View pretending to speak for women, liberals, or anyone who's finished a book is now watching Joe Rogan deliver the verbal spanking of the decade. He didn't just clap back, he filed a legal thesis, followed it with a podcast autopsy, and watched them melt in real time. There's no redemption arc here. No, we've learned and grown montage. No Sunny Hostin tearfully clutching tissues under soft studio lighting. Just the thundering silence of a show that knows it finally stepped in something it can't. Spin. Rogan, meanwhile, is somewhere in Austin, dropping legal napalm while sipping mushroom tea. With a guy who once lived in a treehouse and still sounds more coherent than anything coming out of The View.
Strange show, but it's fun to watch. It's just fun to watch them.
It's good entertainment.
Yeah.
Undoubtedly.
Well, they're just, it's interesting because I think Sunny's very intelligent, but she's ideologically captured.
Right.
That's sort of, I think the other ones, there's a couple of the other ones, don't have to name any names, who are just very dull-minded. But I think Sunny's not one of them. I think she's smart but captured.
Sure, I think she came into it with an agenda.
Of course. They do everything with an agenda.
Yeah.
And let's not forget the fans. Rogan's listeners didn't just support him, they turned the internet into a battlefield. Reddit threads, AI parodies, YouTube edits, Twitter memes, it was digital blitzkrieg, and through it all, Rogan never gave them the dignity of a direct response. That's the beauty of it. He annihilated them from a distance, no set visit, no awkward face-off, just precision strikes from the comfort of his own podcast fortress. Because this isn't just about Sunny Hostin's mouth writing checks ABC couldn't cash. It's about accountability finally. And no matter how the lawsuit ends, settlement, courtroom drama, or public apology, Rogan already won where it counts. The cultural narrative
is the show that people love to hate.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
They get so much hate watching and hate watching viral clips of them saying ridiculous things. I mean, it is a rabies-infested hen house.
One, of course. There's always hope. Maybe next week, Sunny will grace us with a hot take about how gravity is problematic, or why Wi-Fi is a microaggression. Who knows? Reinvention is The View's brand. But if there's one lesson here, it's this. Next time you reach for a monologue, maybe double-check the part where your network reminds you not to mess with a man who has a global following, a legal war chest, and a microphone bigger than your ratings. And Joe. He'll keep doing what he does, talking, questioning, trolling, the media industrial complex, one episode at a time. Only now, he's got the court docket to back it up.
None of you have any trans women on it?
Great point. It has a lot of women that look trans, but none of them... It has a lot of second and third takes. After a drink, you'd go, huh? But it doesn't have a ton of